Hey, welcome to EPN. My name is Victor Lucas, and we bring you the latest in everything cool every single day, thanks in a large part to our pals at the VFS School of Game Design. Thank you, Vancouver Film School. Today's rundown is dedicated to fun with Famicom. Asks, can I get a shout out? Sure you can. This rundown's all yours. Oculus doesn't want you to trip and fall or break the bank on your journey to the brave new world of virtual reality. Earlier today at their annual Oculus Connect conference, Oculus and their parent company Facebook announced a standalone and wireless headset called the Oculus Go. Unlike the Oculus Rift and other headsets like the HTC Vive or PlayStation VR, the Oculus Go doesn't need cables, and it also doesn't need a separate computer or mobile phone in order to run. All the computer processing and number crunching is done within the unit itself, essentially making the headset a tiny computer that you wear on the front of your face. Cumbersome cables and the fact that many headsets require an expensive gaming PC in order to run have been seen as the two biggest hurdles for VR to overcome, and the Oculus Go kills both of those birds with one stone. Containing everything inside the headset does have its drawbacks, though. At the time we're filming this, Oculus hasn't shown off the games for the system, but says that it will be compatible with their mobile VR library, so it doesn't sound like it will be running big AAA games like the Oculus Rift. We'll let you know when more details on the matter come in. The good news is that it will cost a lot less than the Rift, $200 US, which makes it one of the least expensive headsets on the market. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg says that their goal was to make the most accessible VR headset ever, and hopefully it will bring in newcomers to the format.
We want to get 1 billion people in virtual reality.
The Oculus Go hit stores in early 2018. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds seems to break a new record every other day, so here's the latest. Earlier today, the hit Battle Royale shooter became the first game in history to have more than 2 million concurrent players on Steam. It already broke the all-time record for concurrent players set by the previous champion, Dota 2, but even Dota 2 never came close to 2 million players at the same time. These numbers put that much more distance between Battlegrounds and its competition and indicate that the game will only continue to grow in popularity. Thanks to the success of Battlegrounds, other developers have already started using the Battle Royale genre in their own games, and expect to see more of them if Battlegrounds continues to rise in popularity. The game was released on Steam Early Access back in March, and the final version is slated to arrive before the end of the year alongside its console debut as a timed exclusive on the Xbox One. There's been some back and forth about just how long the game's Xbox One exclusivity will last, so we'll have to wait to see how long it takes to make the jump to the PS4. Apple is taking on Netflix and Hulu with help from the biggest filmmaker in the world. Steven Spielberg is joining forces with Apple to create an original scripted series exclusively for Apple's iTunes service. The new show will be a remake of Amazing Stories, a fantasy and science fiction anthology series that Spielberg created and produced in the mid-'80s. The new version of the show has been in development for several years at traditional TV networks, and now that Apple has picked it up, it makes it the biggest exclusive series on their plate by far. Apple has been working to create more original programming, following in the steps of rivals Netflix, Amazon, and Hulu, and they've pledged to spend at least $1 billion over the next year. It will be interesting to see how much success Apple has with this new endeavor. Unlike Netflix and Hulu, they're a technology company first and don't really have a history of creating film or television content. We'll let you know what happens next. One of Disney's gigantic new animated movies has turned into a gigantic dud. Disney has canceled their planned animated adventure Gigantic, which has been in development for several years and was slated to arrive in 2020. Following in the footsteps of other folk and fairy tale inspired hits like Frozen and Moana, Gigantic would have been a Disney-style retelling of Jack and the Beanstalk, which has already inspired several animated adventures from the studio. Speaking with The Hollywood Reporter, Disney and Pixar Animation Studios president Ed Catmull says that the new movie just wasn't coming together creatively, and although they still love the idea, they've decided to move on to other projects. This won't leave a hole in Disney's schedule, though. The studio says that they've got another animated project set to come out around the same time, and will announce more details soon. Assassin's Creed Origins is changing a lot of things about the franchise, but the DLC plans are pretty much intact. Ubisoft has announced the free and paid content that they're planning to release for the game after launch. First up, the paid content in the Season Pass will consist of 2 big expansions, both of which will add new regions to the game's open world. The first is called The Hidden Ones and takes place a few years after the conclusion of the main story. Players will travel to the Roman-occupied Sinai Peninsula and get new story missions that explore the rise of the Assassin Brotherhood. That arrives in January. The second paid expansion is called Curse of the Pharaohs and will see players journey to an unnamed new region that's filled with mythological creatures from Egyptian mythology. That arrives in March. Season Pass holders will also get exclusive items like outfits and weapons alongside 500 in-game Helix credits that can be used to purchase loot boxes, because every game has to have loot boxes. The Season Pass will cost $40 US. As for the free content, that consists mostly of new modes like a Horde mode set in a gladiator arena and extra missions and trials within the existing game map. Players will just have to decide for themselves how much or how little they're willing to spend on extra content and loot. Assassin's Creed Origins arrives October 27th. That's it for the rundown. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back again tomorrow with a brand new episode. In the meantime, if you'd like to learn more about game design, visit our pals at VFS.edu. And you know, we've got a ton of videos for you to check out, so please do. And if you dig them, hit subscribe.